Hey guys, so welcome and thanks for taking time out of your day to listen a little bit about electric mirrors slash Cordova line. As you know, in the lighted mirror industry, electric mirror was the first one ever to make a lighted mirror 22 years ago, and they became pretty prolific after about 15 years. We started the residential channel, and after another 4 years of that, what we found was we had a lot of imports coming in, and we found we just couldn't stem the tide of imports fast enough. But what really bothered us was the imports that were coming in weren't really quality stuff. And the fact that they were really making cheap disposable mirrors. So the first guys that came in the market space made really cheap mirrors that had 1 year warranties with low efficient LEDs that weren't going to last much longer than the warranty. So people were getting fooled thinking, I can get this product that looks like a quote unquote electric mirror. Everyone's calling themselves electric mirror, by the way, and that's our company name. So really that's a lighted mirror. But like, Xerox, tissue, Kleenex, all those things become common names. People started calling themselves electric mirror. We don't really like that. That is our brand name and our trademarking patent copyright. So we prefer people call themselves lighted mirrors. But in the sense, what we did was we saw ourselves struggling and saying, hey, how do we meet the demands in the marketplace? So what I always talk about when I do PKs is when I look at electric mirror and I look at the price point of electric mirror, I always say that price point somewhere around median home price around $500,000 and up. Below that, you need probably a subspecialty product that's a little cheaper price point. So in our case, when the knockoffs came in, and they were literally about 40% less than us on average, we basically knocked ourselves off. Now in Dan's world and my world, we're probably 2 years late doing this. In our world, Dan's world and my world, our job is to get to the showroom as fast as possible and get it on the wall. Because you guys tend to sell what's on the wall. It makes sense. It's on the wall. People see, touch, and feel it, and they can talk about it. They buy it. So we came up with Cordova. So Cordova for us was people, if you notice too, people knocked off our three best sellers. They knocked off our Silhouette, they knocked off our Integrity, and they knocked off our Fusion for the most part. So what we've done there is we've knocked ourselves off. So now we have Cordova in our line. And Cordova is really, we tried to make it look differently. I'll tell you, so Dan's on this page right now, we show Celestino. So we only show the Celestino in one size. I'm redoing the price book now. Now this Corona thing's kind of affected us. We just did the electric mirror price book. We're redoing Cordova. We probably won't have it now with Corona till probably middle of the year. But what we will do is we'll add some sizes and some functionality to some of these mirrors. So like the Celestino, this one was done in the 36 by 36 only because we had a huge inventory of these mirrors. A hotel project job got canceled. We built some up for residential as well. And so we were literally sitting on about $2 million worth of inventory when we launched Cordova. So we said, until we sell through these, we'll wait and we sold the most of this size too. So it made sense. So this year, this is a knockoff of my Silhouette in the electric mirror line. But if you look at the electric mirror line, you don't have to go there. I'll go there for you. As I flip through the book real quick in the electric mirror line, I get the Silhouette. I look at a 36 by 36 Silhouette, it's $2,020. In this line, it's $669. Plus a 15% tariff for anyone on board with us right now. So these prices you see in the book today, you have to add 15% to on top of them. Now here's the hard part. You go, well, it's made in the United States. Yeah, it is made in the United States. So we put a tariff on there because we get the electronics from overseas. And we're being charged a lot for those at the time. And the other problem we had was we didn't want to redo the price book, which is the price increase. We're going to add functionality to the price book as well, different sizes and styles. So in today's current pricing, you add 15% to the net of all these. Now, Dan's brought up the Charisma lighted mirror alongside a picture of what we call our Celestino, which is a knockoff of our Silhouette in the electric mirror book. The Charisma is a knockoff of the Fusion. You see, we sell more Fusion, so we had more sizes right out of the get-go. And I'm curious, for those folks who are on this call, anyone that sends me feedback or Dan feedback, I will reach out to in some way or another. But I'd like to know your feeling on Cordova, what we're missing on Cordova, and what we can do to help you sell more price point style lighted mirrors. So these are literally a third of the price point of electric mirror, which is in that range. If you look at median home prices, I told you a minute ago, median home price for electric mirror is probably $500,000 and above. But if you look at the US, that's a smaller percentage of what's available in the home market space. So when I went to the owner and I said, listen, we need a mid-tier price point, he goes, why do you feel that way? I said, well, listen, if the home end or the median price point for homes of $500,000 is higher, there's only, let's say that's 8% of the marketplace, where 92% of the marketplace is homes below $500,000. I'm sitting in one right now as I speak to you guys, right? I don't have a big crazy home. I have a normal middle income home. And so for me, that price point is much more prolific for matching up in the market sizes. So we really feel like if the electric mirror market cap is, say, 500 million, the mid-tier market cap for Cordova should be like 2.8 billion. It's a much bigger space. So that's the other reason why I went down that path. We think there's a bigger market that's conducive to using that price point. So that's really why we launched it. We launched it, number one, because we saw the imports coming in low quality at a lower price point that didn't make sense. So we made something that we thought was better quality in the same price range, probably not dead on, but within plus or minus 4 or 5 points with most manufacturers. And we felt like this would give us a better leg up. Now, right now, electric mirror is still made in the United States, as well as Cordova. At one point, we will outsource Cordova. We'll never outsource electric mirror. But when the goal was, when the numbers got big enough, we would then take it overseas. We do some of our hotel stuff overseas now anyways, because that's a very price-sensitive market. And then we would then, stop making money off it. As of right now, electric mirror makes no money off Cordova, very little. We do it just to support the market space that commands it. Okay.
So you bring up price point. So what is the benefit of buying a Cordova mirror, and if you can get one on the internet for, let's say, the same price, that's a Chinese mirror coming from overseas?
Great question, Dan. So number one, we're the leaders in this market space. We were the first ones ever to make one. We brought that same knowledge over to Cordova. Number two, if you know about electric mirror compared to the imports, our mirror is serviceable. Cordova is serviceable as well. So we own the patents and copyrights to that. I can take the glass front off the mirror, service the LED or the driver in about 10 to 20 minutes. Most of the imports we've seen 1 or 2 that aren't like this. Most of the imports, they epoxy the glass front to the back of the chassis. So when the unit has a problem, you're stuck like Chuck. You throw the thing away. You can't do anything with it. It can't be serviced or upgraded. So in that sense, we find that to be negative. So that's another core competency of us. The mirror is serviceable. My mirror comes with a 5-year warranty. Most of the imports that we've seen have a 1-year warranty. So after 1 year, if you have a problem, you throw it away. Mine, 5 years fully covered. After 5 years, it's still serviceable. So that's what's one of the biggest advantages. So moving forward, Dan now brings up my Unity. Unity is a knockoff of my Integrity, which is our best seller, right? So we'll add some sizes. I'm sorry, Unity's knockoff of my Integrity. The Charisma you see in the left-hand facing page is knockoff of the Fusion. We're going to add some sizes to both of these lines. One of the knocks we did get from talking to consultants like yourself was they said, hey, listen, some of the import guys have multitude of sizes. Now, what I found is they do. Some of them have a bigger breadth of sizes, but have you tried to order some of those sizes? They're not available. Those guys do is they buy in bulk from China. So the minute they run out of a weird size, they're not going to get like 20 of those. They're going to get 1 or 2 or 3 of those things. And once they're out of inventory, they won't get another one until they do another production run, which could be anywhere from 3 months, 6 months to 9 to 12 months. So it's somewhat, I don't want to say false advertising, but a lot of those units, they're not available from those competitive type people. We gave you stuff that we turned every day. We thought you'd utilize every day. That's why we did the size that we did. So we'll add some sizes this year, and we'll add around this year. We're looking, the one thing I always get is people want a med cab at a cheaper price point. We haven't gotten there yet. We're still working on the med cabs for electric mirror, so we're probably still a few quarters out from dealing with med cabs. But I do anticipate in the next 2 months to middle of the summer having a new insert for your Cordova price book, which will have more sizes in each category right now. Celestino, Charisma, Unity. We'll add a round and an oval as well. But when it comes to serviceability, it's the same as my electric mirror line. You pull the glass front off. We give you quick connects inside. So once the electrician puts the quick connect on, you don't need to have the electrician come back. You literally take the glass off, undo that quick connect, which I always say it was like an old T5 phone connection. You just unclip it from the wall and you're good to go. The power's off. And then you can service whether it be the driver or the LED. Down in Texas, you guys get a lot of those storms rolling through the state in the summertime that cause power outages and stuff. That's the one thing that's going to affect your driver probably is a power outage or a storm like that. So when that happens, we're readily available to service the unit. With the other ones, once you blow the driver, throw it in the trash, buy a new one. Not electric mirror or Cordova. Still serviceable and back in business within a few minutes. Any questions or concerns there? So when it comes to shipping, the one thing we are watching is when it comes to the shipping side of the street, this stuff goes via cardboarded box via FedEx. An electric mirror goes in a wooden crate via LTL. Our damage rate with electric mirror is 4%, which is the lowest in the industry. Really, we're almost to 3% right now. We should by the end of the month we'll be at like 2.5%. That's the goal, to get to 3%. Which even the glass guys will tell you that. If you talk to your local glass guy, he's going to tell you his damage rate's like 6 or 7, 8%. It's much higher. We have the lowest damage rate in the industry. Now with Cordova, right now we're running about 11.4% damage rate, which is, as you can see, it's almost 3 times the damage rate of electric mirror. But again, that goes in a cardboard box. That stuff is stock product. So if you do end up one that gets cracked, unfortunately, in the glass industry, it's like dealing with the egg industry. You're going to wind up with some cracked ones. It's just no way around it. It's a fragile product. But the goal is that if we send one down to Texas or Oklahoma or Louisiana, somewhere in Dan's territory, and one ends up cracked or chipped, we quickly then just send a new one out the very next day. Again, we understand that's going to happen at times. We hope it doesn't. We have a guy that's all he does is look at quality control mins and maxes to make sure this doesn't happen. So I promise you, that's one of our core focuses, to make sure we get product in your hands and ready to go condition, not with a crack or a chip in it, right? It doesn't do any good to have to wait a couple more days. Even though we're fast, it's not ideal. We do try to make sure we limit that exposure both to you and your customers when it comes to products ready in installable condition.
So I want to address something that Kevin has kind of asked here. He said for us, more marketing for Cordova. Our sales staff hears electric mirror, they think dollars. They think expensive. We can address that. I mean, as far as why we don't push Cordova as much as the electric mirror, or push for your displays to be Cordova instead of the electric mirror, I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
Hey, so guys, I'm glad both Kevin and Dan brought this point up. So one of the things I've always told people, and I'm sure if you think about it, you can attest this yourself in your showrooms. I always tell people when I do a presentation, what I've found in being in this business for quite some time, whether it be I've worked for faucet guys, furniture guys, glass guys, what I've found is this: if you show cheap, people go cheap. So if I stick a electric mirror on the wall that's $800 and I put one right next to it that's $1,200, most people are going to acclimate towards the one that's $800. What I've asked people to do is this, and again, you guys know your market space. So Kevin, I apologize if I'm not really alluding to your market space. Some market spaces just demand a mid-tier product. The median home prices, the geographic location, the industry and the resources in the area aren't as high end. So in those applications, I totally agree. If this is Kevin's point, then I would show Cordova. But in most applications, I ask people, listen, show electric mirror, because there's more margin in it, more money in it. And if you see sticker shock, you see their budget can't afford it. You see, or they're a home flipper, right? A home flipper doesn't care. He just wants to get product in for the year and he's good to go. It's not his worry at that point. In those cases, I would ask that you show electric mirror first. And when you see those bells and whistles or those alarms go off, whether it be price point, budgetary restrictions, overall cost of the project and the job, in those cases, I would ask that you then bring out the Cordova book and say, hey, same company as a Builder Series line. We don't show it because people want to see the better stuff, but this is just as good. So in quality sense, let me go over a couple of the differences real quick. So if I'm holding an electric mirror book in my left hand and a Cordova book in my right hand, I would tell you that in the left hand, electric mirror, the difference is electric mirror has a no green edge. Cordova has a green edge. The green edge is the iron content. Electric mirror has a 7-year warranty. Cordova has a 5-year warranty. Right? Electric mirror has high output LED. Cordova has regular output LED. So in the process, what you're seeing is very minimal differences in the product. The difference is price point, a little bit better grade of technology, and electric mirror is customizable, and they have internal dimming via AVA, where Cordova is strictly dimmable from the wall switch and no customization, right? Again, at that price point, we're not going to spend the time to customize it because it's supposed to be meeting a lower price point, which is a plug-and-play size or a system. Does that make sense?
So let's say that they have Apptations, to call them out because it is in the chat box here. Let's say they have Apptations. Why would they want to sell Cordova?
So Apptations is a 1-year warranty. The product is serviced it's brought in from China. So if you know about Apptations was a makeup mirror company for years. And when the owner was going to shut the company down, the lady that ran accounting said, I'll take it. And she just took it. And so she started doing makeup mirrors. And at one point, she acclimated over, because she goes to China for all the makeup mirrors. She acclimated over, and the guy said, hey, we can sell you lighting mirrors too. So she added it to her line. You know, I know her. I know Christine. She's in the buying group that we're in as well. And, you know, we've decided to play nice in the sandbox. She hasn't totally knocked us off directly in style. So we've kind of left her alone. But if you notice on our website, we list the people that knock us off. We've settled a bunch of lawsuits with those folks. As I mentioned in the last one, you know, it's very easy. Think about if you have family, you have kids, or your parents, or your brothers and sisters that made a product. Once they make a product, someone then takes that product and runs to China and says, hey, can you make this like this for cheaper? Anyone can do that. There's no ingenuity. What makes someone want to spend their money and develop and bring up new products into the mix when people do stuff like that? To me, it makes no sense. So I always try to personally touch you from that sense. Say, listen, I'm never going to stop the knockoff people in this world. I know I'm not gonna. But folks like you, the showroom people, can slow it down. Because what you got to do is don't let your space be invaded by people just looking for price point cheap stuff. And if they do, go to something like Electric Mirror, who not only started the industry in the product mix category, but then came out when the market demanded a cheaper price point, we gave you that as well. So we feel like, hey, we're USA made, we're the innovators in the market space, innovators when it comes to technology, we customize, we're right here in the United States with you. If this pandemic hasn't shown us anything, we need to bring more manufacturing home to the US. Not be so reliant, whether it's medical goods, prescriptions, or durable goods. We need to be more reliant on the ingenuity, the technology, the advancements that we have right here in the US. We outsource products overseas because it was a cheaper function. We went for the easy route. I'm not so sure that was the best route for us, especially after looking at what's going on here now, right?
So and I'll tell you guys, it's not like we're sitting here telling you something that these companies are trying to hide. I mean, you can ask Apptations flat out, what happens when this mirror goes out in 3 years? They'll tell you, throw it away, buy another one. I mean, they flat out say it. I've heard that she has gone around and that's what she says. And it's the price point for that. Whereas I try to tell this to everybody, this is why I don't push for displays of Cordova, because if they see a Cordova, they see an electric mirror, and they look at the price point, they're going to go, well, I'll just go for this one, even if they can afford the electric mirror, because it is a nice mirror. It's still serviceable. You're still not going to have to throw it away in 3 years. So we're not telling you anything that's not common knowledge. I mean, and Kevin even said that's exactly what she said to us. So I'm telling you guys, I'm not making this up. That's what their business model is, where you can still get a nice looking mirror. I mean, again, if you show Cordova, you're probably going to sell Cordova because it is still a beautiful mirror and it's still serviceable. So you don't have to throw it away in those 3 years. Now, a question did come up, Stephen. How is freight handled when you have a mix of electric mirror and Cordova?
Good question. So, hey, let me go backwards a little bit to Kevin and Dan, to further Dan and Kevin's point too. So when someone comes into a place and says, listen, I want to buy a mirror for $500, I would think most people, if you're median home people, you're not thinking you got to throw that away in a couple of years and buy a new one. Like, to me, that's a derogatory statement. I don't know how else to explain that. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking, I'm redoing my bathroom in Texas. I'm spending a lot of money. My wife and I and my significant other and I are doing this bathroom. We want to make sure that we're spending our money that's going to last us. It's going to look pretty. It's going to be durable. It's going to be functional. All those things you're looking for when it comes to quote unquote value. There's no value in disposable goods. It's just a cheap, easy way out of that solution. So I get both sides of that, but it doesn't make sense to me when someone says it's just a disposable product in that sense. When it comes to mixing stuff, so we do have a free freight program with both units. With electric mirror, if it's 3 medium or 3 large, it's full freight allowed. And by the way, in the price book now, we also do a combined freight. So if you just had 2 mediums, rather than charge for both, we charge you a flat $250. So we saved your money there on just buying 2 units as well. We don't make any money on freight, by the way. Right now, I subsidize the freight 44%. So when I first came on board Electric Mirror, to send anything anywhere in those crates was about $350, and it still is to this day. It didn't get cheaper. I rolled some of the cost into the product, and Electric Mirror just eats the rest of it. That's why we ask you to inspect the product when it shows up. And people go, oh, like we can open those crates, they're big crates. I'm like, I always go back to people. I say, listen, I go to the grocery store. When I go to the grocery store, I watch people buying a dozen eggs for $1.59 to $3, and they open the thing up and they look at every egg in the box. Why, when someone's spending $2 to $3 grand, would they look at a mirror inside that box? I've wrestled with that. So I try to make that hit home for you as well. Now, when it comes to combine, if you had 2 electric mirrors and you had a Cordova, I've often said this, you can always write on your PO, combine the freight. We're going to throw the Cordova in with the electric mirror. You're only going to pay for weight then. You're not going to pay the full fee. Okay? So we will find every way we can in the electric mirror to save you money, to make you more profitable. At the same point, make the price competitive in the market space with what's out there. Does that make sense, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Perfect. And Kevin Digits, give me a good option I'm going to talk to you about later. We'll address that, Kevin. Don't worry.
Okay.
Well, guys, I mean, I told you this was going to be a shorter PK. I did want to go over Cordova with you just to kind of introduce you to another price point, but still the same quality as electric mirror. So that's really what I wanted to go over today. I think, Stephen, you did a great job. Unless there's anything else you want to add, or if anybody has any questions, take yourself off
Dan,
mute and ask
I do want to add one thing.
Okay.
Hey, guys, this is a little funny thing. When this product first came out, I want to make mention what happened to me. I was in South Carolina when I first saw the product displayed in a showroom, and I immediately called the owner up. And I said to the owner, I said, hey, you want the good news or the bad news? He said, give me both. I said, the good news is the product looks awesome. I said, the bad news is the product looks awesome. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, it looks so good. It's very hard. Like, so let's say Kevin came to me and said, hey, Kevin, hey, Steven, do me a favor. Like, I don't want to spend a lot of money, but I want a really good product. What would you do? I'll be honest with you, electric mirror and Cordova are almost the same product. You know, for the difference in price point, a third of the price point, personally, I would tell you, you couldn't get hurt going with Cordova. You do get a little bit tinnier glass, so it's a little more reflective glass in electric mirror. You get a little bit better driver in electric mirror. But for the most part, the products are almost on the same realm. So in this case, we're giving you both high quality for both the mid-tier customer and the high-end customer can walk away satisfied knowing they get the highest end components at that price point that's available to them in the market today.
Great. All right. Anybody else have any questions, concerns, or anything you want to add? And maybe you can help us out with where you think Cordova would fit in your showroom. Be glad to address that right now. Roland, you got anything to add?
No, Dan, I don't have anything to add. You know what? I do actually have one question.
Okay.
Concerning the drivers.
Yep.
Once those are out of warranty, what is our cost on a new driver?
So good question, Roland. Typically drivers, to be honest with you, in the old days when we did T5 fluorescents, we used to use what they call a ballast to drive a T5 fluorescent, and those are expensive. Those ranged anywhere from our cost being $50 up to $200 depending on the unit, and if it was programmable up to $300. An LED driver is pretty cheap. The nominal cost of an LED driver starts around $20 and goes up to about $95 depending on the quality of the driver. In your case, I would say an average cost to you guys, just a ballpark average for you, would probably be about $35 to replace that driver, $35 to $50 max.
Okay, that's good to know.
And by the way, Roland, those are standard drivers that you can get from any electrical wholesaler, big electrical wholesaler. Sometimes from the manufacturer direct. We use Sylvania for the most part because they have the most efficiency, which is another thing you need to know about too. When it comes to LEDs, you don't need to know how long it lasts. What they do is when they got kind of stuck and realized it wasn't going to last forever on their initial promise, they did the same thing the TV people did. They come out and said, hey, it's going to last for 50,000 hours, which is somewhat true and not true. It's true in the sense, when they tell you that 50,000 hours, they think it's going to be functional life for 50,000 hours. An LED will probably last for 1 million hours, believe it or not. But at one point, it's not functional. You need a microscope to be able to see it emitting any light. So in our case, we tell people there's somewhat of a misnomer there, even at 50,000 hours. And by the way, 50,000 hours is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. 5 years of your life was 50,000 hours. So when you turn 5, you were 50,000 hours old. But what this is the misnomer here. You really need to know the efficiency of the LED. You multiply the efficiency of the LED times the amount of hours, and that gives you what they call the mid-degradation point, which in a generic term it means it's going to burn half as bright from the day you plugged it in. So if you use a 20% efficient LED and it's 50,000 hours, it's going to be half as bright at 10,000 hours when you initially plugged it in. And 80% LED is what we use right now, and the most efficient right now is 82%. At 40,000 hours, it'll still be as bright as it was until it starts to dim at 40,000 hours. Everyone else you're going to see knock off around 10 to 24,000 hours is going to start dimming pretty fast. Now, the problem, too, is when it hits the midpoint, say Mrs. Jones comes into one of your showrooms and buys a knockoff mirror. She calls you up and says, hey, I bought this mirror. And she goes, now it's half as bright. And you go, well, I know you didn't get that from me, but let me see if I can help you out. And you call the manufacturer says, hey, that's a 1-year warranty. Throw it away and buy a new one. Mrs. Jones then says, you know what? It took me 19 months to get here. I'll wait another 19 months and then I'll buy it. Well, here's the problem. When an LED hits the mid-degradation point, it rapidly degrades. It degrades 2/3 faster at half its life than when you initially plugged it in. Because an LED wants to be bright. So when it starts dimming, it starts calling for more power and actually burns itself out faster. So those are some of the subtle nuances that electric mirror knows. So we know when we source a component, whether it be an LED or a driver, we look for the maximum efficiencies and brightness and illumination levels. So there's a whole bunch of factors if you don't source them right or know what you're doing. So when they go over to China, China aesthetically looks at it and goes, I can make it look like that, but they don't look at the engineering behind the back end of it. They don't look at the small details that make it having a great experience with the product as just an experience with the product, if that makes sense. So hopefully that was a little helpful as well.
It is. Thank you.
Anything else out there?
No.
No? Not you, Tracy, Melissa?
hmm I'm new, so I'm just sucking all of this in and listening.
So was that helpful for you? Just kind of introduce you to the Cordova line and the Cordova side of the electric mirror business. I know you've been on the electric mirror PK, right?
Yes, I have. Yeah, so it was really good to hear what the differences are. Because there's such a price difference, I wanted to know why electric mirror was so much more. And I guess the one thing that I really didn't know too was that both of them can be serviced, which is great.
Yep.
Exactly. Hey, so guys, any new people on these presentations, if you have any questions afterwards, you got any stuff you want to go over with me, you want help from me, like you guys, I'm kind of stuck in a home office as well, so I'm more than willing to help. Anyone that participated in Dan's PKs, by the way, we're going to do a raffle. So there'll be a raffle. So anyone that was in the presentation today will be included in a raffle, and Dan will let you know when that raffle takes place, who was in it, and then who won. We'll do a couple of raffles because I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to this stuff and get educated.
Now, this was really helpful.
Especially on this PK here, you guys send me an email, and that'll let me know that, hey, I was in, and we'll raffle it off, and we'll hook you up.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you all for being on. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, everybody on. And if you need anything, we're here for you. Just let us know.
Great.
All right.
Thanks again for your time.
Of the day.
Thanks, guys. Go get them.
All right.